Welcome to the Insomnia Project. Sit back, relax, and listen as we have a conversation about the mundane, the ordinary, simple things. One thing we can promise is that our conversation will be relaxing, less than fascinating, possibly fun, so you can feel free to just drift off. Thank you for joining us. We hope you will listen and sleep. I'm your host, Marco Timpano.
And I'm your co-host, Nidhi Khanna. Marco, before we start today's episode, you've made me a lovely cup of coffee. And when you brought it to me, I was a little bit perturbed.
Yes.
Because there was an unexpected oiliness on the top of it.
Right.
And me being a good house guest, I do not want to say anything about your coffee making skills, particularly because we all know Italian coffee is one of the best coffees out there.
Sure.
But I did finally mention it because when I took a sip of your coffee, there was a bit of a hint of coconut. And I couldn't quite understand what was going on. But why don't you tell our listeners what you put in our coffee today?
Well, Nidhi, we did an episode where you were talking about coconut oil a while back. And I had read recently that if you put a bit of coconut oil in your coffee or tea, it doesn't really mar the flavor of the coconut oil, of the coffee rather, but it adds a health benefit to the one who drinks it. And so recently I've been doing that, adding coconut oil to my coffee and my tea. And while I was making it, I had put some in mine, and I figured, I'll put some in yours because I know you are a fan of coconut oil. And I thought, I've got more coffee if it's not to your liking. And then, I said, so what did you think? And you asked, and I said, yeah, I put a little bit of coconut oil in your coffee. And what did you think?
I actually really liked it. As you said, I can still taste the coffee very distinctly. But it's almost like when you're going to take that sniff or that sip, you get a whiff of the coconut, which is nice. So thank you for thinking of my health.
Well, the one thing I will caution any listener who wants to try coconut oil in their beverages is to start with less, because coconut oil can be a little intense on the system.
It can.
And so I just put not even half an espresso spoon full in your coffee, so it was very little. But yeah, if you want some health benefits, definitely put some coconut oil into various things that you consume. Now, Nidhi, you're going to be moving in the next couple of weeks.
I am.
And so let me ask you, what have you done to prepare for your move?
Well, Marco, I'll be quite honest. I am looking at this move as a very serene one. I really want to... luckily, the place that I'm moving from, I have the luxury of time, so I can kind of move slowly and calmly, kind of get my clothes in, and various furniture items, and then kind of see what I need. So I'm very excited.
Good.
And happy. And what I enjoy about moving, Marco, is that it's such a great time to kind of change up your style or the look and feel of the place that you're in. This time I'm really relying on friends and family to kind of give me some really cool pieces of furniture and things that are making it me have a vision for my space in a different way. So
I just pointed out a desk that I think you're going to be taking. So.
Yes, I am. And I am going to be living in sort of a floor of a house.
Oh, cool.
Which is new for me because I'm more of an apartment dweller.
Right.
Or a condo dweller. So this is going to be an interesting transition in terms of my look and feel of my place.
Now, may I give you a piece of advice with
Sure.
regards to furniture that you might be acquiring, including the desk that I'm going to be giving you?
Absolutely.
So, you saw the desk isn't anything particularly, you know, striking about it. It's
No, but I know what I'm going to do with it.
okay. Because my suggestion would be like paint it a bright color. Like if you get a piece of furniture or you have a piece of furniture that's been in your family and looks dated or doesn't have an appeal to it anymore, I say go out to your local hardware store, pick a bright blue or a bright glossy yellow, and just splash the paint all over it, and it'll bring new life. And if it's not what you like, then it was a piece that was going to be discarded anyways or donated to a local, um, you know, shop that salvages this kind of furniture and then resells it and gives the money to charity. I always recommend that as well. So that would be my advice. So what are your plans with some of the furniture, since you say that you do have plans?
So, with that particular desk,
Right.
actually, I am going to be putting it in. So, the place that I have, it's funny, it was listed as a 2-bedroom.
Right.
But it's kind of like a bedroom and a really large closet.
Okay.
So, the second so-called room is not big enough for a bed, but it is not a den either.
Okay.
But so I'm making it sort of into.
Would it be considered a nook? Would you consider it a
It's
nook?
bigger than a nook because
But
it does have a
smaller?
closet in
Okay.
it, but you wouldn't be able to fit like
A twin
a
bed?
twin bed in
Really?
it. So that's why I think I was able to get this place, because probably a lot of people who were looking for a 2-bedroom
Sure.
went in and were like, there's no way I'm going to fit
Mhm.
anything in here. But because it has like a closet and a lot of really bright light, I'm going to use it as sort of like a dressing area.
Oh, great.
And so that desk I'm going to put in that room because it's small enough. It's like the perfect size to be able to kind of have like a dresser.
Right. Ooh, tell me more.
So I will be using it. It'll have all sorts of, I don't know, my makeup will be in there, my brushes, all the fun kind of hairbrushes.
Kind of like an old Hollywood sort of dressing table?
You got it.
Okay,
You
so you need
got
a
it.
mirror above
Yes,
that. Okay.
but I have a big full-length mirror,
Mhm.
and so I want to get the mirror put on kind of one of those stands,
Sure.
like a mirror stand, so
Yeah.
that it's like a little bit slanted but upward.
Mhm.
Either that, or I'll hook it to the wall.
Another thing you can do is change hardware on furniture. So remove the sort of pulls and the knobs and put new knobs or vintage knobs you might get at a salvage store, and it'll change the piece as well.
Oh,
And
that's a good
sometimes
idea.
sometimes spending the money on an interesting pull tab or knob can really make your piece stand out. So I would say, get the paint, splash paint, and then get an interesting or, a knob that really sort of speaks to you and put it on there, and then you'll see how the piece transforms. I have a friend, her name is Karen Parker. I'm going to send a shout out to her. She does a lot of sort of, and she had mentioned to me that she wants to be on an episode of our show. She's a listener, and she's like, I really want to, and I'm like, anytime, Karen. So we will do a follow-up episode with Karen Parker and talk about things you can do with furniture, and she does a lot of stuff.
You know
that
what, Marco?
Mhm.
Ideas coming from me. That episode that
Mhm.
we do with Karen Parker, why don't we record it in my new place?
Oh, I love this. The way this sounds, fantastic.
Maybe perhaps on the desk that you're going to give me.
And hopefully by that point, she will either give you tips on how to refurbish it, or you will have done it. We'll take a photo.
Perfect.
Sounds great. But what about boxes? Do you have boxes for your move?
So it's funny, I just actually emailed a friend of mine who recently moved, and she has moving boxes. So
Oh,
they're
okay.
not the cardboard boxes, because
Mhm.
the cardboard boxes, forget those. I think they're a little bit annoying. You got to find them from somewhere, etc. But these moving boxes are just sturdy and easier to grip. So
Oh, that's great.
I'm going to use those. And a shout out to Alexandra Cote, who is the one with the moving boxes. But
How does she have moving boxes at her disposal?
So Alex is actually a realtor.
Okay.
So, one, I guess it's in her blood to have all sorts of moving components available. But she recently moved as well.
Okay.
But she was actually the realtor who helped me find this place. So,
I would love to have Alex on a show where she talks about advice if you're selling your home, how to get it prepared for viewings.
She would love that because one of the most favorite parts of her job is actually, I think, staging and finding ways to, anything to sell a home.
Of course. Well, that's in her best interest. But sometimes people, like my sister, have a love for design and moving items in a home to sort of give them new life. And in fact, Nidhi, the reason I was telling you to paint and do the hardware is because my sister, Mary Lena, does that and will often, and she really enjoys sort of refurbishing old pieces and giving them pizzazz.
Marco, I think we need to get Alex, Karen, and Mary Lena on the show and have sort of a theme show dedicated to staging, selling, designing furniture, reupholstering, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, that sounds great.
So I think future episode idea right there. Now, Marco, you bought your place that we're in right now
about 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so you haven't actually moved in a while.
Right. I've helped a lot of people move, though.
So that was going to be my question. You've helped people move. What is some of the advice or tricks or tips that you have for someone who is preparing for their friends to help move?
Okay, so it's going to be a two-part thing.
You were ready for this question.
I'm certainly ready. So, Nidhi, this is my advice to you, since you're the person moving. One, get rid of the things that that sort of don't bring you joy. I know that there's this whole sort of thing going on with Spark Joy and Marie Kondo's books about tidying. But what I would say is, as you go through the things that you are going to bring over to your new place, get rid of anything that you kind of are keeping for reasons that you can't really, I don't want to say can't explain, but you're keeping for non-joyful reasons. So it's like, oh, this is an expensive top that I bought, but I don't enjoy wearing it, but I spent so much money. Just get rid of it. Or I never used this, but I had it when I was in university.
Clothing and books and things that clutter up your life.
Get rid of the clutter before you move. The other thing I was going to mention is, as you start boxing your items, box them and label the box. So for example, like a little sticker color coding system, so that this is kitchen stuff. You mark with, let's say, a little red sticker, so that you know that box is all kitchen. So that box can go directly into your kitchen and you know what's in it. Try not to mix rooms or items. So try to keep, even if the box is somewhat empty, try to keep one box that is dedicated to one room or one area of your house. That's the other item I would say. And lastly, don't make the boxes too heavy. Because what people like to do is that they'll just fill a box with all, let's say books is one of the biggest culprits, right? You fill a box all with books, and then it becomes extremely heavy. And if you're carrying it up and down stairs, you can hurt yourself or the person helping you move, especially if you're not going to use movers. Are you using movers?
So I am not using movers. I am going to use my two brothers, who will be my makeshift movers. However, I agree with you completely. I think those are common mistakes that people make, especially the one about not labeling boxes correctly or making them too heavy. I think people also sometimes assume that if your friends are helping you move, somehow you don't need to be as organized. I don't know. There's sometimes... I know I was helping a friend move once and everything was kind of scattered.
Right.
Whereas when you have movers, there's kind of this expectation of like, I don't want them to spend too much time doing this. I want to maximize the efficiency in
Sure.
here.
Because you're spending money, right?
You're spending money, but you have to think of it in the same way when you're
Of course.
using your friends, I think, because
You're spending their time.
absolutely.
We live in a culture obsessed with dieting, weight loss, and exercise, and that can make eating disorder behaviors easy to miss. But the reality is, eating disorders are serious mental illnesses that take a major toll on your health and your life. But recovery is possible. Eating disorders are more common than you might think. Chances are you know someone who is struggling with one, or maybe you're struggling yourself. If you're concerned about an eating disorder in yourself or a loved one, I want to introduce you to Equip. Equip is a fully virtual, evidence-based eating disorder treatment program that helps patients achieve lasting recovery at home. Every Equip patient is matched with a multidisciplinary care team that includes a therapist, dietitian, medical provider, and mentors. And you get a personalized treatment plan that's tailored to your unique goals and challenges. Equip treats patients of all ages and all eating disorder diagnoses. It's covered by insurance, and there's no wait list. If you think that you or a loved one could be struggling with an eating disorder, don't wait to get help. Visit equip.health to learn more. That's equip.health.
Over 90 of the top 100 U.S. accounting firms trust Bill to simplify and secure bill pay. That's proven financial infrastructure built on over $1 trillion of secure payments. Visit Bill.com/proven for a special offer.
I like things my way. My coffee, my schedule, and my treatment. So I talked to my doctor about self-injecting with the Vyvgart Hytrulo pre-filled syringe, which contains efgartigimod alpha and hyaluronidase QVFC. It's injected under your skin, subcutaneously. It means I can inject in my space, on my time. It's my treatment, my way. Visit VyvgartMyWay.com. That's VYVGART myway.com. And talk to your doctor about Vyvgart Hytrulo. Brought to you by Argenix.
So the more organized you can be prior to your move will help you post your move as well. And I think that that's key, being organized and being respectful of the people that help you move so that they don't feel like it is such a burden versus, oh, you know what, it was easier than I thought, and it was really well organized.
So in terms of how you thank your friends for helping you move, now normally I've gotten anything from pizza and some beer or wine to a little bit of a gift to a nice meal later on. What do you think is an appropriate thank you for someone who has helped you move?
Oh, that's a great question. I would say, so definitely have pizza and beer or something for them after the move that you guys can just have sort of, after a long day. It would be great if you had a gift in one of the boxes ready to go, so at the end of it, you know which box it is. After you had your pizza, you say, here you go, thank you so much for moving. And depending on your friend, it could be anywhere from a scented candle to something, some iTunes gift card or whatnot, something that they would appreciate.
So then this brings me to another question, Marco. What in this day and age, if you are moving to a new apartment and you have a get-together
Right.
to celebrate the new apartment, what is an appropriate housewarming gift? Do people still give housewarming gifts for rentals?
Oh,
I don't know how it all works.
I think if you're going to someone's home, especially they just moved there, a home is a home is a home. Whether you purchased it, whether you're renting it, whether you're just there for a short term. I always like to give some sort of pineapple themed gift. Because the pineapple is a symbol of welcome and joy. It has sort of symbolic connotations with the home, and I believe, and this is not going to be 100% accurate, but this is what I remember, that back in the day, the pineapple in North America was an expensive fruit, and so if you offered it to your guests, it was quite a display that you cared for your guests. And a pineapple would only last so long. So what the person would do is have a pineapple on the mantle of their fireplace or in a prominent place and have it on display. And you were to leave that home before the pineapple went bad. So it was sort of not to outstay your welcome. And so I think the pineapple has a lot of association with being welcomed, a new place, and just sort of, let's say, good luck or good fortune. So I always like to give a pineapple themed gift, whether it's a little pineapple knickknack, a candle that has a pineapple scent to it, or an actual pineapple itself. Bring that over and include it with my gift to the person.
Marco, you are a great gift giver.
Am I?
You are.
Okay.
You are very thoughtful. I think we discussed many episodes ago about my lack of booster cables.
Oh, that's right.
And for my birthday, you got me a set of booster cables along with...
Are they in your car?
They are in my car,
great.
where they will forever be.
I need to show you how to boost, because I don't think you know how to boost a car.
I do know how to boost
you do?
a car.
Okay, great.
I do. That I know.
Fantastic.
But you also gave me, and I think we talked about this on a previous episode as well, a gadget that weighs your luggage.
That's right. It's sort of like a scale for travel. A travel scale is what it's called.
Both of those are great gifts. You know why? Because they're gifts that I would not have normally bought myself.
Right.
And I think that that's a wonderful part of gift giving, and I think that that's what makes you a really good gift giver, is that you think of gifts that someone wouldn't normally, or that person, having known them, wouldn't normally be like, I'm going to spend my money buying myself this.
Right.
And so you understand a need, and you give a gift that the person needs, which is what makes it so wonderful.
It also becomes difficult to get gifts for people after a certain age, because people tend to have everything they need and they don't want to clutter themselves down, in particular in a big city where you don't have a lot of space, like you were saying. That second bedroom is actually just slightly bigger than a nook, but not larger than a walk-in closet type thing, right? So you don't want to inundate them with too many, large things. But when I find something useful that is unique and not the first thing that comes to mind, or not something you would necessarily get yourself, I will gift that. Another one of my favorite gifts to give people, and I'd love to know what your favorite gifts are to give people, is subscriptions to magazines. And I think it's because I love getting magazines delivered to my home, but it's a lovely way to be remembered throughout the year once a month when that subscription comes to the person's home. Now, what I always do, so for example, if I was to get you a subscription to, let's say, a home magazine, a home style furniture magazine, rather than give the subscription to Nidhi Khanna, I would play with your name there a bit. So it would be like, Mrs. She's All That Khanna, or something like that.
Amazing.
So that when you receive it, you know that it comes from me, because there's a bit of humor to that. Of course, that's not necessarily what I would use for you. It just sort of came to mind.
I am all that, though.
Well, there you go. And for example, my sister, I didn't use her name. I used what I called her as a kid. So she'll get things like that. And that way, when the subscription comes, it's sort of a reminder that, I gave it to you. So I would say, when you give a subscription, make it unique in the person's name, even if you put in something as a middle name. So Nidhi loves dogs, Khanna.
That's great. I love that idea.
Mm-hmm.
What is the best gift, Marco, that you've ever received?
Well, before we do that, I want to know what the gift is that you usually give.
That I usually give? Ooh, I don't have a go-to. To be quite honest, I really look at... I'm not the best gift giver.
Sure.
I have to say. I usually like experience... like to give experiences, so rather than like physical goods. So for me, it's more about taking someone to go do something fun. So for example, I have a friend that I will be taking to go to this adult obstacle course.
Oh.
Like a parkour type of obstacle course, essentially. So something, this person is really becoming getting active and starting to like run and do all these active things.
Sure.
So that would be a fun experience that we could both do together.
Right.
So I tend to go for that type of gift rather than a physical gift.
Wow. The best gift I've ever gotten, it's hard to say the best gift, but memorable gifts that I've gotten. I got a pair of cufflinks from my friend Mark on one of my birthdays, and it's a field with sheep, and there's all these white sheep, and then in the center is a black sheep with red eyes. So you can tell that the black sheep is kind of like mean or whatever, like the black sheep of the family, and that was a memorable gift that I recall off the top of my head. But it's always nice to get gifts that have meaning to them, whether it's big or small.
Absolutely, I agree.
And one thing that is interesting is that I'm not a card giver. For me, I've never really been. I don't like to go out and buy cards because I find them to be A, expensive, and B, I'd rather just fold paper, draw a little something on the front of the card that I make, and then write something inside, because I'm not a big fan of, those cards that really go into like a big blurb, like, you are my friend because in times of need, and
sentimental,
and they're long to read. Those are the worst cards you can give me. And I'm not a fan of gift cards. So when I get gifted gift cards or things like that, because I hate going out and having to redeem them, it drives me crazy. It really does. I don't know why, because it's the thought behind the gift, so I shouldn't be so, dismissive of it, and it's lovely to receive any sort of thought.
Yeah, but I know what you're saying. It's sort of like, now you have to go do something for this gift.
I have to do the work, yeah.
And so I completely understand that. I think
we once got a gift card to a kitchen store that was an hour and a half. It was only one store. It was one store, but it was so far from our home. We had to drive like an hour and 40 minutes to this place to redeem this gift. And then you're in this kitchen store and you're like, I don't like anything that's here.
Was this from someone who's close to you?
I don't remember, and I don't want to reveal who it was. No, and it was like, what are we going to get? There's nothing here. And it was a significant amount at a kitchen store that you're like, So that was that.
That brings me to another part of gift giving that I was discussing with a friend of mine. In terms of giving for a wedding.
Oh, Nidhi, we're going to have to save that for another episode. The wedding episode, I guess, is what we're going to have to talk about.
Yeah.
We want to thank you. We really moved around in this particular episode, didn't we? You are listening to the Insomnia Project. As always, produced by Drumcast Productions.
You can find us on iTunes, and please feel free to write us a review. Let us know what you think about the Insomnia Project. And until the next time, we hope that you listen and sleep.